And hello again from WJ Live, powered by the Western Journal. I'm Josh Manning, Deputy Managing Editor for Assignment at the Western Journal. Joining me today in the studio here, Tara Snyder, an Assignment Editor for the Western Journal. And joining us remote from the other side of the country on the East Coast, Grant Atkinson. Grant, coming to us from seemingly a log cabin in the foothills of whatever mountains are in North Carolina. Grant, welcome. We're glad you could be here too. All right, folks, let me wish everybody a Merry Christmas. This is our last WJ Live before Christmas. So from us to you and your family, Merry Christmas. We are looking forward to taking a little bit of time off to spend with our families, and we hope you're going to enjoy the holiday season, have a great time reuniting with family and friends and remembering what is important at the end of the day, at the end of this season, but really at the end of every day, which is Christ. For our last show, we got a bunch of different stuff we want to talk about pretty quickly here. We're going to do kind of some popcorn hits here. We've got a couple videos, and we have some fun smackdowns with celebrities and politicians. Grant is going to take over here in a moment, and he's going to tell us about maybe the last real sheriff in America. This fellow's down in Polk County, Florida, I believe, and there's some crime that took place, a shooting, some self-defense involved. The comments that the sheriff made are absolutely, well, you would think that the guy was from the Wild Wild West, and I think maybe we need a little more common sense like the sheriff has. Tara's going to wrap up the day talking with us about a Twitter slap battle between Elon Musk and the unbelievably Native American Elizabeth Warren. So they got into it online. And of course, Elon, I saw a meme, I think it was yesterday, which was essentially showing Donald Trump passing on his mean tweets to Elon Musk. And that seems to be about what's happened. Elon is taking over an important gap there, filling an important gap. But first, we've got a couple videos we want to show you. 4 to be precise. We want to show you guys what Bill DeBlasio, what is he, the puppet ruler, the sheriff? You know, Nottingham had a sheriff. There's the sheriff of Nottingham. Bill's kind of the sheriff of New York. We're going to run a video of what he says they have the power to do to make people comply with COVID vaccine mandates. And then we're going to think about that for a minute. And then we're going to hear what Dr. Fauci has to say. Let's take the clip of DeBlasio on CNN.
So I come back to that point where unless everybody's on the same page in the country, we're kind of screwed.
And you know how you get on the same page? People have to lead. So look, I believe with enough leadership, enough mandates, we're going to get a hell of a lot more people vaccinated. The more people vaccinated, the more we actually make the transition to a time when COVID is in the background, not the foreground. And we know these mandates work, and we know people respond. Look, human beings are pretty predictable. If you say your paycheck depends on it, or your ability to enjoy life and go do the things you want to do, people will make the practical decision overwhelmingly, and they'll go get vaccinated. But we aren't pushing hard enough.
What a cold-hearted thug. Seriously, people are predictable. When you tell them you're going to take their paycheck away, their ability to buy food for their family, yeah, they're probably going to respond to that. And then the psychopath has the guts to go past that and say, well, even at that, we're really not pushing hard enough. Grant, this is not what an American politician says. This is something I expect from a little tin pot dictator on the other side of the equator. What is this?
Yeah, he's literally describing blackmailing Americans into getting a vaccine, which is just against everything America stands for. I understand he wants people to get the vaccine. We can sit here and argue all day about whether people should get the vaccine or not. It's a personal choice. If you want to get it, you should get it. If you don't want to get it, you shouldn't get it, and you should be okay either way. But for him to try to blackmail people to make his decision, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like the reverse of protection money. In a protection racket, you pay the mob so that they don't do something to you. In this, you get a vaccine so that you'll be able to get paid. It's like a reverse protection racket. And Tara, where does DeBlasio think he gets either the legal or the moral authority to make comments like this?
Well, I think it just goes to kind of how leftism operates in general, because the left views everyone as a monolith and just this collective mass. I don't think that they actually understand the concept of personal autonomy, personal responsibility, and just the idea that you personally should be responsible in your life. And because of that, because they think that the government should be this overseer and should be the God in your life, I don't think that they see it as a problem at all that they're taking away your money, because I truly think that he views that money as his, and that Manhattan and his little New York island is his little island that he can control. And so he ultimately controls the paycheck. He doesn't care about Bob and Judy and random people walking down the streets. He just cares about the monolith in itself and the fact that he is power. And I think that COVID-19 really has allowed these people to become power hungry, and they're hanging on to it for dear life. And I think that right here, DeBlasio is hanging on to relevancy.
Yeah, so he's fulfilling his purpose as he sees it in the grand scheme of things. Well, of course, St. Anthony was out speaking, and I think this time he was talking to the American Chamber of Commerce, and he shared with us the circumstances under which we can have a nice Christmas. What did he say? I've got it written down here. He gave us the conditions under which we can enjoy the holiday season. Take it away, Tony.
We can get through even a winter surge by implementing the countermeasures that we have: vaccinations, boosters, masking in indoor settings, being prudent in caring, for example, about wearing a mask indoors. You can enjoy the holiday season with your family if you're vaccinated and your family members are vaccinated.
You can enjoy the holiday season with your family members if you're vaccinated and if they are. So, Tara, I guess we take from that, if you're not vaccinated or your family members aren't vaccinated, no enjoying the holiday season for you. No Christmas for you.
We're just going to be stewing like the Grinch, going hate, 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 pointing at Anthony Fauci and Biden. Yeah. Oh, so dumb.
I do not understand this, because if you look, Grant, I was looking at the data earlier today. You can look at South Korea, where they have unbelievably high vaccination rates, and COVID is popping there too. Now, I think the idea of getting vaccinated, especially if you're in a vulnerable population, is probably a good idea. Both my parents got the vaccine. I'm glad they did it. I haven't gotten it. I don't feel like I'm in danger. I've also had COVID and I'm fine. But what is this? What is this fetish with the Democrats about getting vaccinated when you see COVID still a scourge in Israel, and you see it popping all over South Korea, where they've had the vaccines like Korea? What is this?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that Tara was just talking about, which is it's about control. It's not about science. They can say that it's about science or it's about listening to the experts all they want. But the fact is that people who are vaccinated are still getting COVID. If they do get it, maybe it's a milder case, and that's great. But this idea that the vaccine is somehow going to wipe out COVID forever, and we're never going to have COVID anymore if everyone gets the vaccine, and that's what needs to happen, and everything will go back to normal, that's just not true. I mean, the vaccines may be good at giving a more mild case, and I'm not arguing that nobody should get vaccinated, but this idea that we need to do it in order to live our lives, and once we do, everything will be great, I don't think either of those points are really true.
Yeah, and that's been the refrain through all of this. In fact, when we took my wife to the emergency room, I shared about that on the show a couple weeks ago. When we took her to the emergency room, the attending physician said, "Oh, the one thing everybody needs to do is get vaccinated." It is just unbelievable how they are pushing it. So a couple more videos here. We're going to run out of time if we're not careful. But it's going to be your last video of Joe Biden from WJ Live before Christmas. So we want you to enjoy it. Joe was out at a commencement. He was speaking at a commencement at South Carolina State today, and he made some fantastic claims about his work in the civil rights movement. We're going to run that video, and then immediately after that, we're going to show video where he completely denies the thing he just announced. All right, Joe, take it away.
As I sat in a black church after going to 7 o'clock mass, I'm a practicing Catholic. at 9 o'clock on the east side, getting ready to go out and desegregate restaurants and movie theaters.
During the 60s, I was, in fact, very concerned about the civil rights movement. I was not an activist. I worked at an all-black swimming pool in the east side of Wilmington, Delaware. I was involved. I was involved in what they were thinking, what they were feeling. I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma.
So he's out there simultaneously. Only Joe Biden could pull this off. He was simultaneously desegregating restaurants and movie theaters while also not desegregating them and working at a segregated pool, where, of course, he met the famed corn pop, whom he had an almost brutal, violent encounter with. I mean, Grant, what is this, just politics, or does the guy not remember? What is this?
Well, I've got to say, it's honestly pretty refreshing to see a young Joe Biden. It's like he's got some energy. He is a living person. It's pretty cool.
He was very vital at one time.
I know. I miss that Joe Biden a little bit, but yeah, I would say, I don't know. I'm inclined to say that it has to do with his cognitive decline at this point. I mean, I'm all about giving people the benefit of the doubt, but there's been so many cases. And this is not even the first time he's made this claim. He's claimed multiple times since saying that he was not a civil rights leader. He's then claimed that he is a civil rights leader and then gone back on it. That's happened since he's been elected president. So at some point, it's less politics and more him being unable to remember what he's even said in the past.
Yeah, I think it was less helpful in that clip from the past. I think it was probably less helpful at that time to admit you had worked in civil rights. Whereas now it is unbelievably helpful to be able to claim you were involved in the civil rights movement. So I'm guessing it's just political maneuvering. Now, one quick final video. Nancy Pelosi, of course, has gotten in on the act today, and she has been lauding our president, the president who simultaneously desegregated and did not desegregate America. Nancy, tell us how great Joe Biden and his hands are.
Our country could not be better served than with this most experienced, capable hands than yours, President Biden. He's just perfect. The timing couldn't be better. And Madam Vice President, we're inspired by your work for the people as you continue to be an invaluable partner to President Biden.
Oh, those perfect Biden hands and all of the hard work Kamala Harris has done, Madam Vice President. Tara, you have often talked about how you admire Joe Biden's hands. Do you have any insight into what Nancy Pelosi was talking about at all?
I honestly don't have any insight. I am super glad I don't. I don't even want to go near to wherever her mind is.
Or his hands.
Yeah, both of those things are things I would really like to avoid, but I just can't help but watch that video and just look. It looks like when you roll out of bed in the morning and you're on your feet and you get a phone call and you're trying to answer and making stuff up.
Yeah, that's it. It's like she's eternally just waking up from a nap.
Yeah, that's
what it's like.
Yeah.
And she's got that kind of surprised look on her face, like you get when you're suddenly awakened from a blissful winter slumber. All right, so let's change gears now. We have seen the absolute idiocy and lunacy of politicians and the left. Let's switch to a little bit of common sense law enforcement in America and really kind of in what the left would consider flyover country or heartland America. That's really just shorthand for a place where people still have common sense. Grant, tell us about the sheriff you've been looking at down there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is a story out of Polk County, Florida. And what happened was on Wednesday evening, a man named Stephen Stillwell attempted to break into a homeowner's house. The homeowner's name wasn't given in the story, but he attempted to break into the man's house. He threw a vase through the window of his back porch. He had glass doors on his back porch, threw the vase through the window to break it, entered the house. When he got in there, he was surprised to find out that the homeowner had a handgun. It was loaded, and the homeowner shot him 3 times. He did not die. He was taken to the hospital, placed in critical condition, but they have said he is stable. And that, I mean, honestly, that's a great story. You know, it tells about the second, not great that he got shot, but it's great that this person had the Second Amendment to protect themselves, and it shows how
it's great that
important
the homeowner is alive.
Right. The more, I would say, interesting part of this story is the sheriff in Polk County. His name is Grady Judd, and he had some pretty interesting comments after the events. I think we have a video of that we can pull up.
The homeowner did exactly what he should have. He had a gun. He knew how to use it. It was loaded, and he shot him a lot.
Stillwell is now hospitalized with 3 gunshot wounds. Sheriff Grady Judd is not charging the homeowner, citing the Castle Doctrine.
The Castle Doctrine is there. It's your home, and strangers break in. You don't have to wait to see if they harm you or not. Only Santa Claus gets to come in your house, and Santa Claus is invited.
This guy is just the best. I mean, what do you guys make of that? I mean, obviously, I agree with what he's saying, but this is just an interesting guy for sure.
I think it's like, I think it's sad that we have to be so surprised. We're like, oh, wow, like he's not going to get charged. That's amazing. Because I think if the founding fathers were like, you guys would even consider charging a guy for shooting an intruder in his own home, like, I think they would be shocked. So the fact that we're sitting here being like, wow, like we still have patriots in America. Like, I think that says more about the state of the country than the guy who's actually defending this man's right to the Second Amendment.
You know, I think it was also a sheriff in Florida who made that super famous quote a couple months ago about, like, if you come in somebody else's house, it's their responsibility or duty to blow you back out the door. It was something like that. I think that was another Floridian sheriff. Yeah, I mean, it's common sense. I believe in the Castle Doctrine. It's, you know, the right to private property and the right to defend your property are fundamental human rights, if there are any human rights. And I'll tell you what, the guy's going to think twice. He's going to think more than twice about the next time he tries to break into somebody's home. I think there's a reason that, criminals prefer unarmed victims. And if you don't know if your victim is armed or unarmed, you're probably gonna try to shy away, at least a lot more than if you are looking at victims in states where gun laws are really, really restrictive, and there's a better chance that if you attack somebody, you'll get away with it.
He's probably going to look for one of those yard signs that everyone has that's like black, and it says, "We believe that water is life, that science is real, women are human beings, like Black Lives Matter." Like he's probably going to look for one of those.
Yeah. Imagine. So you put two. You have guns in your house. Your neighbor doesn't. You put 2 signs out. In your yard, you put, "This home is armed and will use deadly force," and the homeowners will use deadly force. You put the sign next door saying, "This home is not armed, and there is nothing the homeowners can do if you break in." I can tell you exactly where criminals are going to break in, and probably more importantly, I can tell you exactly where they're not going to break in. It is very easy to actually deal with the criminal problem. The problem with that is that you have so many on the left who are soft on crime and who are anti-gun and really who are, put it this way, it is very natural if someone tries to come into your home and take your things or hurt you, it is very natural that your response would be to hurt them. Only people on the left would be so foolish as to think that that natural response is somehow wrong. I had a friend who used to say that the ultimate thing with the left is that they are unnatural. And when you think about the things that they support, that's a pretty good description of them. They are unnatural. They believe in killing their own children. They believe in taking the hard work that another man has executed, the fruits of his labor, and redistributing it to people who haven't earned it. They don't believe in disciplining their children. They don't understand the way the nuclear family works. All the way down the line, they fundamentally do not understand what is natural. That was a very good insight from a friend of mine from years ago. All right, go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, I think that it's just, I wanted to say it's important to think about this kind of this kind of person, this sheriff, someone who is for self-defense, and someone who said specifically, I really liked what he said, you don't have to wait for somebody to possibly harm you before you defend yourself. That's something that we saw, I think, really come to light during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. They were saying, oh, he didn't hurt him yet, so why was he shooting him? He was only a child molester who was 2 feet away from him. He hadn't hurt him yet. Like, this idea that you have to wait until somebody harms you is not what the founding fathers wanted, and I like that this sheriff called that out.
Yeah, it is. Again, it is unnatural. It's just no normal person thinks that. No normal person with kids who understands how dangerous the world is thinks that. It is just truly remarkable, the policy and the ideas you get out of the left. Okay, last topic of the day, last topic before Christmas. It will be a good old-fashioned Twitter slap fight between billionaire. I think is he the richest man in the world right now?
I think he
him
is.
or Bezos.
Him or Bezos.
I think it's Elon. Between him and the least Indian member of the United States Senate, Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. Take it away, Tara.
So this week or whatever, Elon Musk was named as Time's Person of the Year. And usually we don't really care about that, but Elon Musk was actually named. So I thought that was actually kind of cool rather than some random grifter, probably like Meghan Markle or something like that. So this was kind of cool, and everyone was really supportive of it, of course, for Pocahontas. And she came out on Twitter and said, let's change the rigged tax code so the person of the year will actually pay taxes and stop freeloading off of everyone else, which I'm not sure where she gets the evidence for that. It's just like they make up this lie that like rich people don't pay taxes at all, and then just
as if she's not rich. She is being paid $400,000.
Yeah.
$400,000 at Harvard.
Yeah, so she can go eat Dove ice cream bars with Pelosi out of her kitchen freezer. But so Elon had like quite a few responses on Twitter, and he said, stop projecting, and then like linked the Fox News article saying that she's basically not Native American. Then went on to say this, which is just the best kind of own ever. And he says, you remind me of when I was a little kid and my friend's angry mom would just come in and randomly yell at everyone for no reason.
That is what she's like.
Yeah, she is exactly like that. Like,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
No,
we all knew that mom.
No, everyone knew that mom. You'd like go to their house and it's like, oh, like we can just sit on the floor and stare at each other and then we won't get yelled at. Like everyone knows who that person is. And then Elon goes on and says, he says, please don't call the manager on me, Senator Karen, with like praying emoji. And I'm like, that's exactly what Elizabeth Warren's acting like, because she's not minding her own business. She's not staying in her lane, so to speak. She's just causing drama and stirring the pot because, as we've already told you, all people do in Congress is care about their likes and retweets. And that's exactly what she was trying to do. It's not like she actually cares about tax policy. Yeah. She's just caring about being like, oh yeah, go Elizabeth Warren. It's like, yeah, the blue-haired liberals in an overpriced coffee shop are probably the only ones who are supporting you right now and are probably liking it from their new iPhone. So it's just absolutely insane.
Well, she lost the Cherokee vote a while back.
Yeah,
when it came out. She was between 512th and 1024th Indian. I am 99% certain that I am more black than she is Indian.
And I think that there was like a statistic that came out that said like the average U.S. American is more Native American than Elizabeth Warren.
She is less Indian than most Americans. I mean, it is such a joke. You talked about grifters earlier. She is an unbelievably successful grifter.
So, I guess my question, too, for Grant, we kind of talked about Jeff Bezos and Elon, and I do think that Jeff Bezos is hated a lot more by the left, but I'm curious, Grant, why you
think Bezos is more hated by the left?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Than Elon Musk.
I don't think so.
Really? Okay, yeah. Well, I guess I'll pose this to both of you then. Which one and why do you think he's more hated?
I think Elon's more hated because he is not willing to swallow the political correctness pill. Now, he's no conservative. And, I think a lot of conservatives don't like Elon essentially because he's so closely tied to the electric car industry, which tends to be really supported by the left. He's also an enormous proponent of anthropogenic global warming theory. And so I think a lot of conservatives are sort of skeptical there, but he doesn't do the political correctness thing. He has no problem calling out leftists and liberals for their stupidity. They can't abide that. If you won't bow and grovel at their feet, they despise that, and he won't do it. Whereas Bezos, I mean, he owns the Post. I think he's carried a ton of water for Biden and for Trump's opponents. And it is remarkable how these people who are unbelievably wealthy align themselves with people who say they hate wealth. But it's really not true. They just hate other people having wealth. They love their wealth. We've got a story I think it's being worked on right now about Nancy Pelosi and how she suddenly came to the defense of the free market when her fortune was $120 million of her money was in danger or something like that. I forget the specifics, but it is remarkable how they end up on that side. And go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would pose this question to Grant, because I was thinking, obviously, just coming off of college campuses and whatever, I feel like I always heard about Jeff Bezos and the evils of capitalism, and I feel like people railed against him.
That's interesting.
And I do have, I am a business student, so I don't know if it was because of just the business bro thing where everyone was like, oh, Elon Musk is cool, look what he's doing. Grant, do you think people dislike Elon more or Bezos?
I think people on the left tend to dislike Elon more than Bezos just because of what Josh was saying, and that he's definitely not a Republican. He has some conservative views, maybe. He's not a Republican, but because he doesn't always go along with what the left wants, I think that he's hated. I think Bezos is also hated. I think that's true being in college as well. You hear a lot about Bezos being hated, and I think he's more recognized. People realize how rich he is. I feel like some people don't even realize how rich Elon Musk is. He's a successful guy. Everyone knows that. But the fact that he's in the top 2 richest people in the world is pretty surprising to some, I think. I think you hear Bezos more as far as money and how he's greedy and things like that.
Yeah. That's super interesting. I wonder why. I don't know why in my head I just see him as more likable, but maybe that's just
Bezos
or Elon.
Yeah, I see him as more likable.
Yeah.
I see
I don't
Elon's
know.
way more likable.
Yeah, maybe that's my own personal bias in the way.
Elon seems genuinely fun, genuinely humorous. He has a sense of humor. I've never gotten that sense when watching Bezos be interviewed.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't spent a whole lot of time watching Jeff Bezos be interviewed.
Bezos gives me the same Zuckerberg kind of stare eeriness. I don't know if that's how to describe it, but yeah.
Yeah, the people who do these things, they are seriously different people. They're unbelievably healthy, unbelievably driven. They are not like the rest of us. So yeah, maybe that vibe you're getting, maybe it comes from that. All right, that's it for us for today. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for ending your week with us, your work week with us. We appreciate it. We will be gone next week, and I didn't ask Russ if we will be gone the week after that, so I don't know. Russ, will we? Yeah, we'll be here Wednesday after Christmas, so you can tune back in then, and from then on should be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. We do want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Hope your time with your family goes wonderfully. Do remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. None of what we do here matters. None of the follows on YouTube and Rumble matter. None of the stories that the Western Journal produces matter if Christ was not real, if Christ was not born of a virgin, if he didn't come to die in our place, then none of what we're doing matters. The only way that what we're doing matters is if Christmas is real, if Christ was real, and if he did die in our place. Keep that in mind through the holidays. If you're watching on YouTube or on Rumble, be sure to click the subscribe button. After that, you can click the bell. That's going to make sure you get notified when we go live. And also, last thing, if you go to westernjournal.com/join, westernjournal.com/join, we've got some different ways there for you to partner with us to help get the truth out about really the America people are forgetting is out there, about Heartland America, to get out the truth about the left and what it's up to. and to spread the truth and a scriptural Christian worldview. If you feel led to help support us, wonderful. If you don't, man, just keep watching, keep reading online. We're grateful for you nonetheless. So for Tara, for Russ, for Rachel, for Grant, and anybody else I'm forgetting, Merry Christmas from the Western Journal and WJ Live, and we will see you guys after Christmas.